Young and Restless early spoilers June 16th to 20th. Victor's explosive outburst and Lily's stunned. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what is coming the rest of this week, June 11th to 13th, then go into next week. Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, checks in with Chelsea Lawson Newman, Melissa Claire Egan. They're talking about Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, and work over at Newman Media. Chelsea talks about the Victor problem. He is demanding that Adam attack Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, and she doesn't like it. Nikki wants to know why Chelsea is even protecting him. When Chelsea presses for advice, Nikki suggests offering Victor something that matters more to him than slapping at Billy. That's good food for thought. Young and the Restless spoilers. Victor Newman pressures Adam and Chelsea plots a power move. Meanwhile, Adam is delaying publishing a hit piece on Billy when Victor shows up at the office. Adam bickers that he's not Victor's attack dog, but Victor thinks he is. He apparently wants him on a short leash. 5 Victor changes the subject, talking about Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, going to the party with Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow. Of course, he doesn't know yet that she's not going to go. Adam thinks they might be reuniting. He just hopes Nick doesn't break Sharon's heart again. Victor doesn't care about that much. He wants to ally with mystery man Aristotle Dumas, Billy Flynn, and then work together to take down the Abbotts. Chelsea overhears Victor demanding that Adam go ahead and run that hit piece on Billy the next day. Chelsea asks Victor to meet her later. She then talks to Adam and says she's going to try and bargain with Victor, like Nikki advised. Adam is a little insecure and wants to know why she's defending Billy so hard. Chelsea insists it's just guilt, over the cheating and all that. She reveals she has something big to offer Victor. She thinks she knows what the mystery man's real identity is. Lily Winters and the France party. Sally Spectra fears drama. Wednesday, June 11th. Victor meets Nikki later, and they talk about Chelsea's concerns. Victor thinks that she should be Team Newman all the way. Nikki tells Victor that she gave Chelsea the advice to offer him something valuable. Meanwhile, Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, worries as she talks to Billy about what she should wear to the fancy France party. Sally is also determined to keep Billy chill while they're there. Billy hopes this is all a big setup. An ambush against Victor, because all of Victor's enemies are going to be at the party. Victor has a lot of enemies. Sally is worried about drama. She's also worried about the fact that Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, is going to be there. Sally even suggests they skip it. Of course, Billy is not going to do that. He promises the two of them are going to sit on the sidelines and watch the chaos unfold rather than being part of it. We'll see how that works out. YandR spoilers. Chelsea faces off with Victor and Kyle's temptations, Thursday, June 12th. Victor meets with Chelsea and they negotiate. She is certain she knows Dumas's real identity. She'll hand it over if Victor agrees to back off the Billy thing. I think Victor may agree to back off Billy, but only temporarily. You can't trust him. He outright lied to Lily about stuff. Any deal Chelsea makes is a fool's bargain. But Victor no doubt wants this information because he wants to walk into that party armed and ready. Also, Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, gets Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron's approval on Thursday. Remember, Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, approached Kyle trying to lure him to the party, but it didn't work. However, it sounds like she might circle back around and tempt Kyle again, and it works. Or Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, maybe found a way to help. Claire Grace and Audra Charles take center stage. Claire's dad, Cole Howard J., Eddie Peck, is super sick. He's in Chicago. Claire is probably going there too. She may tell Kyle if it's that important to go to the party, whatever. She's focused on her dad. However, if you remember, Kyle just promised Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, he would be holding down the fort in GC while his dad and mom are over in France. Looks like a change in plans. Audra's keeping secrets from Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. She's likely lying about why she is packing for the party. She may blame Victor or say she has to do it because of all the buzz around Victor. If she has gotten Kyle to go, obviously she won't mention that to Nate. But I don't know why Audra thinks Nate isn't going to find out what happens at the party since Lily and others are going that he talks to all the time on Young and the Restless. Party day, Christine, Phyllis, and the return of Danny Romalotti, Friday, June 13th. It's the big day, but before we get into party stuff, Christine Cricket Blair, Laura Lee Bell, and Danny Romalotti Michael Damian are back in town. Daniel Romalotti, Michael Graziade, is so happy to see his dad, Danny, and Christine when he runs into them in the Crimson Lights. Phyllis can't get Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, to back down. It sounds like Phyllis may still be bugging Tessa about Daniel. Maybe Phyllis wants Tessa to keep her updated while she's out of town. Devin Hamilton, Brighton James, vows that no matter what he has to do, he will protect the Winters' legacy in the face of whatever this mystery thing is that's happening. The party is supposed to kick off on Friday the 13th on Young and the Restless. Aristotle Dumas' identity revealed? Suspense at the France Gala. We are supposed to have Aristotle Dumas' big debut. But it may be a situation where the first guest arrives, and they just see him. I'm interested to see if anybody says his real name out loud. Based on the leaked photo from behind the scenes of Amanda Sinclair, Miss Hale Morgan, and Lily with Dumas, and just based on some other things that are happening, it's looking like it's Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers. But if you see anybody saying anywhere it's confirmed it's not, at least not yet. At least not at the time of me taping this. YandR week ahead, Kane, Lily, Phyllis, and a murder plot? Week of June 16th through the 20th. Chaos is going to unfold after the big Dumas' true identity reveal. Again, all signs do point to Kane. Lily even said his name for the first time in I can't even think how long. That was Friday before last. Again, that behind-the-scenes shot shows Lily in a very intense conversation. Josh Griffith may have invented some lover, even though we've seen her whole love life play out on screen since she was a teenager. But you never know. I will say I think Lily deserves a lot better than Kane being back in her life, if that's what they have done, because he did Lily dirty so many times. Daniel's making progress on Young and the Restless, but Phyllis is going to be out of control again soon. Daniel keeps getting closer to Tessa as she and Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, are falling apart. Chelsea gets Victor to back off attacking Billy temporarily, but once Victor's back from France, he's probably going to resume his anti-Abbott stance. Young and the Restless. Nick Newman teases a shocking murder mystery. Lily is stunned at the identity reveal. It would be really wild if Dumas fired Damien because he found out Damien was getting closer to Lily. There's a murder mystery coming that kicks off very soon, according to Nick Newman. Maybe at the party somebody dies, or it could wait until they're back in town. We'll see. The Nick Newman actor, Joshua Morrow, said the plot is at Newman Enterprises was tense. Papers were strewn across the mahogany table, phones buzzed incessantly, and the faint hum of the air conditioner did little to cool the heat of the moment. Victor Newman sat at the head of the table, his jaw tight, his piercing eyes locked on the latest financial report. It wasn't just numbers on a page that had him rattled. It was betrayal, deception, and the gnawing suspicion that someone close to him had dared to undermine his empire. Lily Winters, sitting across from him, had sensed the storm brewing long before it exploded. She had spent months navigating the treacherous waters of Newman Enterprises, trying to balance loyalty with her own moral compass. But nothing could have prepared her for the thunderous roar that erupted from Victor as he slammed his hand onto the table, rattling coffee cups and documents alike. Do you think I don't see what's happening right under my nose? Victor's voice reverberated across the room, each word sharp, precise, and filled with years of pent-up frustration. His eyes were wild, scanning the faces of the executives, searching for a trace of guilt. I built this company from the ground up, and you. His gaze flicked to the newest acquisitions report. You people are trying to bleed it dry while I'm sitting here trusting you. Lily's breath caught. She had never heard Victor Newman, the titan of Genoa City, sound so vulnerable yet ferocious at the same time. His voice, usually controlled and commanding, had cracked with raw emotion. She instinctively straightened in her chair, a mixture of fear and awe coursing through her. Victor's eyes suddenly landed on her, and Lily felt her pulse quicken. She had always known he expected a lot from her, but she wasn't prepared for the intensity of his stare. Lily, he barked. Do you even understand the gravity of what's happening here? Lily swallowed hard. Mr. Newman, she began, but he cut her off with a swift gesture, his hand slicing through the air like a blade. Don't we, don't excuses. Victor's voice was thunderous. I am done with politeness, Lily. You need to open your eyes and see who's really playing you, manipulating the numbers, and trying to make a fool out of me. The room was silent, every executive frozen under the weight of Victor's fury. Papers trembled from the echo of his words, and even the distant hum of traffic outside seemed to pause in anticipation. Lily felt a cold sweat form at the nape of her neck. She had always admired Victor's brilliance and feared his wrath, but this was something entirely different. Victor leaned back in his chair, running a hand through his graying hair, his chest heaving. For a moment he was quiet, and Lily dared to hope that the outburst had reached its peak. But then, in a voice low and dangerous, he said, And you're stunned, aren't you? Lily's eyes widened. She hadn't expected him to call her out like that. She faltered, struggling to find the right words. You just what, Lily? You just sit there, pretending you don't see the betrayal, pretending you're not aware of the games being played around you. Victor slammed his hand on the table again, this time with such force that a pen rolled off and clattered to the floor. You think being stunned is enough? Being shocked doesn't fix this. Action does. Lily's mind raced. She had been walking a delicate line between protecting her position at Newman Enterprises and staying true to her conscience. She had seen shady deals, quiet manipulations, and backdoor arrangements, but she hadn't realized the full extent of the sabotage. Victor's words were both terrifying and illuminating. Suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle began to click into place, and the picture was far more dangerous than she had imagined. I understand, Mr. Newman, she said carefully, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. I'll make sure this is addressed. I promise you, I'll get to the bottom of it. Victor's eyes narrowed, scrutinizing her like a hawk. Promises are nice, Lily, but they mean nothing if they aren't backed by results. Do you have the guts to actually step up and protect what's ours? Lily straightened her shoulders, determination replacing her initial shock. Yes, Mr. Newman. I'll do whatever it takes. Victor studied her for a long moment, and then, almost imperceptibly, his expression softened. Good. Because in this city, and in this company, hesitation can kill you. Or worse, it can kill Newman Enterprises. Just then his phone buzzed, and he glanced at the screen. And this, he muttered, is why you can't trust anyone blindly. Not even your closest allies. The tension in the room was palpable. Lily knew Victor was right. The stakes had never been higher, and the game being played was far more treacherous than anyone had anticipated. As Victor continued to rant and outline the measures he would take to protect his empire, Lily's mind was racing. She had to act quickly, strategically, and with precision. There were alliances to be formed, loyalties to be tested, and secrets to uncover. Every step had to be calculated, every move deliberate. Failure was not an option, not when the entire Newman legacy was on the line. Finally, Victor leaned back, exhaustion flickering across his face, though his eyes still burned with intensity. Lily, he said, voice softer but still commanding, I hope you understand. I am counting on you. Do not disappoint me. Lily nodded, her resolve hardening. I won't, Mr. Newman. You have my word. Victor gave a curt nod, and the room exhaled collectively. The storm had passed, for now, but the undercurrents of tension remained, like a gathering tempest waiting to strike again. Lily left the boardroom with her mind spinning, knowing that the coming days would test her in ways she had never imagined. As she walked down the marble hallway, she felt a mixture of fear, determination, and an unexpected thrill. Victor's explosive outburst had been terrifying, yes, but it had also lit a fire within her. The stakes were higher than ever, the game more dangerous, and the players more cunning. And Lily Winters was ready to step up, to fight, and to prove that she was more than just stunned. She was a force to be reckoned with. Outside, Genoa City continued its bustling rhythm, unaware of the drama unfolding within the walls of Newman Enterprises. But inside, the battle lines were drawn. Victor's wrath had been a wake-up call, and Lily knew that from this moment on, there could be no hesitation, no mistakes, and no second chances. The game was on, and the consequences would be explosive. The city's skyline glittered against the fading afternoon sun, but inside, the real fireworks were just buzzing with tension, secrets, and ambition as Victor Newman, the ever-dominant patriarch of the Newman Empire, made his presence felt in ways that only he could. Adam Newman, ever the unpredictable son, and Chelsea Lawson, a woman whose past scheming rivaled Victor's own, were about to feel the full weight of Victor's relentless power. It all started at Newman Enterprises, where Adam was immersed in a project that promised to redefine the company's tech ventures. His mind was a whirlwind of plans, risks, and potential payoffs, but Victor's looming shadow was impossible to ignore. Victor's office, with its panoramic view of the city, became the stage for a confrontation that no one in Genoa City would forget. Victor's entrance was heralded by a sharp knock and the commanding presence that left everyone in the room, even Adam, momentarily stunned. Adam, Victor began, his voice calm but carrying the weight of inevitability. You've been sidestepping my directives, and that stops now. Adam, never one to back down, straightened in his chair, offering a tight-lipped smile. I'm just exploring every option, Dad. You know I always aim for the best outcome, for Newman Enterprises. Victor's eyes narrowed. He wasn't buying it, not for a second. Exploring options? He repeated, voice rising slightly. You call undermining my authority exploring options? I built this company from the ground up. You inherited it, but don't forget who owns it and who decides its future. Chelsea, standing just outside Victor's office at first, had been watching the interaction closely. She knew Victor's mind was like a chessboard, each word, each pause carefully calculated. She also knew that she was the unexpected wild card in the room, a player who could tip the scales if she played her cards right. Chelsea stepped inside, her heels clicking softly against the marble floor. Victor, she began, her tone measured but daring. Adam's been trying to innovate. We're thinking long-term, not just immediate profits. Victor's gaze snapped to her, assessing, calculating. He had never underestimated Chelsea before, but she had a way of inserting herself into Newman matters that could both frustrate and intrigue him. Chelsea, he said slowly, I didn't invite you here to hear excuses. I invited you because you have a role to play, and you know it. Adam's jaw tightened. He knew his father's game. Victor wasn't here merely to lecture. He was here to maneuver, to set the stage for the next move. And in Victor's world, that meant every action had a consequence, every alliance a potential trap. Victor leaned forward, placing his hands firmly on the mahogany desk. Adam, you need to follow my plan. This is bigger than either of us. You think you're ready to take risks, but not without guidance, not without my oversight. Adam, ever the rebel, bristled. Dad, I can handle risk. You taught me how to navigate it. But sometimes your oversight feels more like control. Victor's eyes flashed. Control? You think I've been controlling you? No, Adam, I've been protecting this empire, protecting everything we've built, including you. And now it's time for a power move, one that requires your full cooperation. Chelsea sensed the tension thickening like a storm about to break. She knew Victor's power move was more than a business strategy. It was a test, a way to see loyalty, competence, and perhaps weakness. What's this power move? Adam asked cautiously, aware that any misstep could cost him dearly. Victor's lips curled into a slight, almost imperceptible smile. We're going to solidify Newman Enterprises' control over Crimson Light's new media venture. This isn't just about money. It's about influence, reputation, and leverage. And Chelsea, he said, his tone sharper, you will play a key part in this. Your charm, your insight, your connections, they're crucial. Chelsea's heart skipped a beat. Victor Newman had a way of making even the most calculated of people feel exposed. But she didn't flinch. Instead, she nodded, her mind already whirring with possibilities. I understand, Victor. Consider it done. Adam, on the other hand, felt the old familiar mix of admiration and dread. Victor's brilliance in maneuvering people was unmatched. But this time Adam realized he couldn't rely solely on his own cunning. He needed to align with Chelsea, or risk being outmaneuvered. Over the next few days, the tension between Adam and Chelsea shifted. Chelsea, determined not to be a pawn, began strategizing her own moves, leveraging her connections with key media executives and investors. Adam, meanwhile, found himself walking a delicate line, following Victor's plan without losing his own initiative and guarding against Chelsea's ambitions, which seemed to expand with every passing hour. Victor watched quietly from his office, the puppet master observing his strings. He knew the value of pressure, how it could reveal hidden strengths, weaknesses, and alliances. The press release for Newman Enterprises' acquisition of a majority stake in Crimson Lights was imminent, and Victor was counting on Adam and Chelsea to play their roles perfectly. But in Genoa City, nothing ever went according to plan. Chelsea had her own motivations, fueled by ambition, and a desire for respect that went beyond being Victor's instrument. Adam, caught between his father's expectations and Chelsea's ingenuity, realized that loyalty in the Newman family was a currency far more complex than he'd ever imagined. The day of the major meeting arrived. Victor, calm as ever, guided Adam and Chelsea through a presentation designed to secure the buyout. Investors were impressed, but the room buzzed with subtle tension, each executive sensing the undercurrents of power at play. Victor finally addressed the room, his voice commanding. We're not just making a financial investment, he said. We're shaping the future of media, of influence, and yes, of Genoa City itself. Newman Enterprises leads, and we expect those who work with us to lead as well. Adam's speech followed, polished yet cautious. He highlighted the innovation and forward-thinking strategies he had championed, careful to balance his father's oversight with his own ideas. Chelsea's turn came last, her presentation combining charisma with intelligence, her every word demonstrating value that was impossible to ignore. As the meeting concluded, Victor smiled privately to himself. The pieces were falling into place. Adam and Chelsea had delivered, but more importantly, they had proven they could handle the pressure. And in Victor Newman's world, that was the ultimate test of loyalty and capability. Yet, Victor also knew that ambition was never satisfied. Chelsea had shown potential, and Adam had proven resilience, but there were still moves to be made, alliances to form, and power to assert. Genoa City was a chessboard, and Victor Newman was far from finished plotting his next move. By the time Adam and Chelsea left the conference room, exhausted but exhilarated, one thing was clear. Victor had secured his power, at least for now. But the game was far from over. In Genoa City, loyalty was tested, ambitions clashed, and the lines between ally and adversary blurred. And as Victor Newman watched the city from his office window, he knew one truth above all. In a world driven by power, wealth, and influence, only the cunning, the bold, and the strategic was buzzing with excitement as whispers of the upcoming party in France circulated through the social elite. Invitations had been sent, luxury flights booked, and social media feeds flooded with envy-inducing snapshots of the glamorous destination. Yet, behind the glitz and glamour, tensions were simmering, tensions that threatened to overshadow the event entirely. At the center of it all was Lily Winters, who was determined to make the France party a milestone moment in her social calendar. But not everyone was ready to celebrate. Lily, known for her poise and ambition, had meticulously planned every detail of the party. From the exquisite French vineyard setting to the haute couture dresses she had commissioned for her guests, everything was meant to scream sophistication. For Lily, this wasn't just a party, it was a statement, a chance to showcase her rising social and professional influence. She wanted the evening to be perfect, a seamless mix of elegance, networking, and indulgence. But perfection, as Lily was soon learning, was a delicate illusion in Genoa City. Her best-laid plans were already being threatened before she even boarded her private jet. Sally Spectra, who had been invited with high expectations, was quietly panicking. Unlike Lily, Sally had a knack for attracting drama wherever she went. Though her intentions were mostly innocent, her presence often ignited unforeseen conflicts. And with this event being under Lily's watchful eye, Sally feared she might inadvertently ruin it, or worse, be blamed for any misstep. Sally's anxieties were compounded by recent tensions with other socialites attending the party. Her rivalry with certain guests had intensified over the past few months, and the prospect of mingling under one roof, or in this case amidst sprawling French vineyards, was nothing short of nerve-wracking. She had spent countless nights rehearsing conversation starters, wardrobe options, and even excuses for awkward interactions. Yet, she knew that in Genoa City, no amount of preparation could truly shield anyone from scandal. Meanwhile, Lily remained blissfully unaware of Sally's internal turmoil. She was consumed by her own vision for the event, a night that would dazzle the attendees, impress her peers, and perhaps even elevate her status in unexpected ways. She envisioned champagne flowing, laughter echoing across manicured gardens, and her guests enchanted by every detail. But as she reviewed the guest list, she couldn't ignore the undercurrent of tension she had sensed in recent weeks. Small whispers, sly glances, and subtle rivalries hinted that the night could take an unpredictable turn. As the day of departure approached, the city's gossip mill was in overdrive. Reporters speculated about who would sit with whom, which couples were on the verge of a breakup, and which alliances might crumble. For Lily, this was both thrilling and nerve-wracking. The success of the party hinged on her ability to navigate these social intricacies, keep the peace, and ensure that every guest felt special. Sally, on the other hand, was devising strategies to avoid drawing attention to herself. She had chosen a striking yet understated ensemble, hoping to blend into the elegant crowd rather than stand out. She also planned to circulate with a small group of trusted allies, keeping herself away from the more volatile personalities. But Sally's fears weren't just about fashion or positioning, they were deeply personal. She worried that any hint of misbehavior, even if accidental, would be magnified, reported, and potentially tarnish her reputation. The flight to France was tense. Lily, ever the perfectionist, went over the final checklist one more time. She had coordinated with local vendors, ensured the catering and entertainment were flawless, and even arranged surprise gifts for her guests. Her excitement was palpable, but it was accompanied by a quiet anxiety. She knew that no matter how careful she was, human emotions were unpredictable. And in Genoa City, unpredictable often meant explosive. Upon arrival, The picturesque vineyards greeted the guests with a breathtaking view of rolling hills, lush greenery, and the iconic French countryside charm. Lily's vision had come to life, and for a brief moment, it seemed that the tensions of Genoa City were a world away. Guests marveled at the setting, sampled gourmet cuisine, and admired the intricate decorations. Yet, beneath the surface, Sally's fears were intensifying. Early in the evening, Sally encountered a few familiar faces whose presence made her uneasy. Old rivalries resurfaced in subtle ways. Half-smiles, clipped greetings, and veiled comments that hinted at past disputes. Sally tried to navigate these interactions diplomatically, but the pressure was mounting. She could feel the eyes of the social elite, the silent judgments, and the expectations weighing heavily on her. Each smile she offered had to be measured, each word carefully chosen. Meanwhile, Lily was performing her role as hostess flawlessly. She floated from guest to guest, ensuring everyone felt welcomed, entertained, and part of the experience. Her charisma and grace were undeniable, and she seemed to possess the uncanny ability to smooth over any minor conflicts before they could escalate. Yet even she could not completely shield Sally from the night's inevitable surprises. As the evening progressed, a few unexpected sparks ignited. A heated conversation between two influential guests drew the attention of the entire party. Sally, caught in the periphery, felt a surge of panic. Would this drama spiral into something that could compromise Lily's carefully curated event? She tried to intervene subtly, redirecting conversations and offering small gestures of reconciliation. But the tension was palpable, and Sally's heart raced with every passing moment. Despite the challenges, the night was far from a disaster. Lily's meticulous planning and diplomatic touch kept most conflicts at bay. The music, ambience, and gourmet selections impressed the guests, and many whispered privately about how spectacular the evening had turned out. Sally, though anxious, began to realize that not all drama had to end in catastrophe. With careful navigation and thoughtful intervention, she could manage her role without becoming the center of scandal. By the end of the night, as the final glasses of champagne were toasted and the guests departed under the moonlit French sky, a sense of relief washed over both women. Lily had executed a memorable event that showcased her elegance and social acumen. Sally had survived without causing, or being caught up in, major controversy. The France party, despite the anxieties and tensions, had achieved its goal. A night of glamour, celebration, and subtle social maneuvering that left Genoa City buzzing with admiration and intrigue. Yet, for both Lily and Sally, the evening was also a reminder of the delicate balance required to navigate high society. Lily knew that future events would demand the same level of precision, tact, and intuition. Sally, for her part, realized that careful preparation, self-awareness, and a touch of diplomacy could help her survive, even thrive, in the unpredictable world of Genoa City.